Hello, my fellow weirdlings! It's Margot, and today I'm telling you about the time it rained tiny gelatinous blobs in Washington that made a whole town very ill. If you're ready to get spooked and spine tingled, keep watching. It rains a lot in Washington state. That part isn't unusual. But on August 7th, 1994, at 3 a.m., rain began to downpour, blanketing a 20 square mile area around the very small town of Oakville, Washington. Population 665. Residents soon noticed this rain was not made of water, but of a strange gelatinous substance they'd never seen before. Each translucent blob was said to have been about half the size of a grain of rice. Over a period of 3 weeks, large amounts of this substance fell from the sky a total of 6 times. Police officer David Lacey, out on patrol at the time the rain started, described the mysterious substance as being very mushy, almost like if you had Jell-O in your hand. Once the gelatinous globs began to fall, almost everyone in Oakville started to develop severe, violent flu-like symptoms that lasted anywhere from 7 weeks to 3 months. Oakville residents described having difficulty breathing, extreme vertigo, blurred vision, and an increasing sense of nausea. Additionally, several cats and dogs that came into contact with the substance fell ill and died. After an hour of first noticing her symptoms, Oakville resident Dottie Hearn was found collapsed on her bathroom floor, conscious but very weak. Her daughter, Sunny Barcliffe, who originally assumed the globs falling from the sky were hail, described her mother as feeling cold, drenched in sweat, and looking pale. Dottie spent 3 days in the hospital and was diagnosed with a severe inner ear infection. As her mother was on her way to the hospital, Sunny thought the odd rain may have something to do with her condition and collected a sample for testing. A lab technician examined the gelatinous substance and found that it contained human white blood cells, though they couldn't identify what it was or how it had come from the sky. The sample was sent to the Washington State Department of Health for further study, where microbiologist Mike McDowell noted that it was teeming with 2 species of bacteria, Pseudomonas fluorescens and Enterobacter cloacae, one of which lives in the human digestive system. McDowell said these organisms could lead to severe illness. He claims that before anyone else could test them, the samples mysteriously disappeared. He stated, "I came in and the material was not where it was supposed to be. I asked management what happened to it, and the exact words were 'do not ask.'" McDowell believed the material was manufactured by someone for some purpose, and that for some reason Oakville was chosen as a test site. It was initially speculated to be human waste from an airplane, but Federal Aviation Administration regulations require that waste be dyed blue. This substance was clear. Regulations also forbid this so-called blue ice from being released in mid-flight. Nearly a year after Dottie's illness, she mailed a sample she'd stored in her freezer to Amtest Laboratories, a private research lab. There, microbiologist Tim Davis believed he saw a eukaryotic cell. These are complex nucleus-containing cells that are present in most living creatures. This would mean that whatever the substance was made up of, it was or had been alive. At this point, one origin theory was that one of the military's naval bombing runs at sea had accidentally destroyed a school of jellyfish and sent pieces flying into the atmosphere, where they settled in Oakville, which was 50 miles inland. Most residents doubt this theory due to the distance the parts would have had to travel, the number of times it fell from the sky, and the lack of any rotting smell from the substance. The Air Force confirmed they were doing practice bombing runs over the Pacific Ocean in August 1994, but they denied any knowledge of the substance or any involvement in creating or dispersing it. However, prior to the bizarre gelatinous rainfall, Oakville residents had noticed a significant, nearly daily, amount of slow-moving military aircraft in the skies overhead. Many believe Oakville was the site of a military experiment, testing a new biological weapon, or testing the possible damage a biological attack on U.S. soil could do. An alternate theory involves speculation about a similar substance called star jelly, also called astromyxin or astral jelly. Star jelly is a gelatinous substance sometimes found in grass or on branches of trees. According to folklore, it's deposited on the earth during meteor showers. It's described as translucent or graying white gelatin that tends to evaporate shortly after having fallen. It's been referenced in scientific reports and poetry as far back as the 14th century, when John of Gaddesden mentioned stellatare, Latin for star of the earth or earth star, in his medical writings, describing it as a certain mucilaginous substance lying upon the earth, and suggesting it might be used to treat abscesses. Explanations of substances that have been referred to as star jelly have ranged from being the remains of amphibians and worms, to the byproducts of algae and slime molds, to even speculations of the paranormal. Another explanation has been crystals of sodium polyacrylate, which is sometimes used in agriculture to improve soil, as well as being used in diapers. In 2012, it's believed sodium polyacrylate absorbed water from a storm to form about a dozen 3-centimeter gelatinous blue blobs, which seemingly rained down briefly over a garden in Bournemouth, England, during a hailstorm. Some scientists theorize that perhaps the Oakville blobs were something similar, though nobody really seems to be able to explain where the Bournemouth blobs actually came from either. To the public's knowledge, no samples of the mysterious gelatinous substance that rained down on Oakville exist today, leaving far more questions and suspicions than satisfactory answers. That's all I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed this story and will come back for more. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and bring your friends, family, COVID pod, cult members, invisible friends, or enemies. And if you have a theory about what happened in Oakville, leave it in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching.